Oh look, gear. Even more gear. Oh, what do you know? There's even more gear over here. And gear here, and here, and gear here. And yeah, more and more gear. Roll it. You know what? I'm tired. Tired of never having a chance to enjoy my newly acquired gear or my newly reformed build before something else comes along that forces me to change some of my gear and redistribute my stats all over again. The in quotations forces me part only applies to players where having the best possible gear and items is their main motivation and they like to min-max, and as an influencer of this game, kinda need to keep up. At least a little bit. For those who don't care about min-maxing and don't feel the need to rush to and through the latest content, then you're a happy camper and this doesn't affect you as much or as urgently. But there's still stuff for you in this video regardless, so I advise you to keep watching. Getting new and better gear or items is not a bad thing. That is not what I'm trying to imply here. The problem I have isn't the new gear additions as a whole, but rather the speed and quantity in which they are added. Whole sets of mostly mediocre armor, and I'm being kind with the description here. Every mod is not going to give players what they crave. We want more variety at the same level. Equip powers that synergize with class feats or powers, and if they must add some armor every mod, focus on one or maybe two slots. Like head wear one mod, chest the next mod, and you get where I'm going with this. But each mod giving at least credible options for all roles, not feeding 5k of item level creep each time either. No one should feel that the only way to unlock content is to sacrifice all their existing good or great gear for newer poorer gear, just to get that extra item level to open the door to the new queue. It would give players the variety and horizontal progression that they want. It would also give players a reason to return to previous maps if they decided they wanted one or the other, like helmets or chests or whatever the slot was for that module. Each piece of gear would have a longer shelf life. Changes for alternative effects will be feasible rather than people thinking there isn't any point because it would all be obsolete in less than 3 months. Can you imagine how happy people would be if instead of getting a shitty set, there were at least 8 pieces of good gear for a particular slot? Maybe 2 each for tanks, healers, range DPS and melee DPS, or even 2 per class. Players coming up, instead of being told that they need to get gear from the latest map, which they aren't ready for yet by the way, and would most likely get their asses handed to them on a silver platter with an embroidered napkin even if they try, can be told to go here for hats, there for gloves, and this place for boots. It keeps a flow of players to the earlier maps, and lets players build up to a full set of best for them, and for those pieces to stay relevant for longer. And if they want, they could also do a set of cosmetics or fashion that would provide a complete look themed around the subject of the mod that would also make people happy, but for a different reason. From the game design perspective, that's a double win, because people will grind for the gear pieces they want because they are useful, and the cosmetics to look good, or to pad their collections, or so many other reasons. Something to think about too is what makes a piece better or best. It shouldn't just be the item level, there should be more to it than that. Can something really be called better if it only helps when you're half dead? If the stats you get are good but the equip bonus is a complete waste of pixels, or if the stats are pointless for your class or role but you have to accommodate the loss to get an equip bonus that's actually useful. I would much rather have fewer pieces but all of them be incredible options for the roles that they are intended for, rather than keep churning out half-baked options just to reinforce a cycle of creeping item level to unlock content. It would not hurt at all to have all the mods that are connected in a block/narrative arch to be pitched at the same item level instead of jumping 5k every time. My friend Drackery had a great idea about how the next big rework should be progressive gear, not gear that you get from a certain mod and then throw away for a better one that you get early or a bit later and then upgrade it with resources from campaigns. So the gear you get has the potential to keep getting upgraded with every module, but you are the one that needs to upgrade it through various new campaign tasks. You might never really need to get new gear. You just make your current gear better through upgrading. That leaves more room to add different incentives and chase items with every new module, instead of the rinse and repeat cycle of recycled gear every 4 months. So in my opinion, every new module should have different rewards that players can chase after. Adding different rewards also allows players to enjoy their build for longer than just 2-3 months. Without that, it soon becomes beyond repetitive and boring. I mean, Cryptic doesn't really leave much room for the imagination, do they? Module 26, 27, 28 aren't even even close to being here yet, but I can safely say that those modules/campaigns will also have new gear that you again have to chase after and get rid of some of your older gear. Oh, and for anyone who will possibly come at me with in quotations, but the new gear isn't better than the old gear argument, and to that I say, yeah, then why add it in the first place? For the sake of variety? Well, variety only matters if the gear added is usable. Having a variety of gear that sucks isn't variety. It's a waste of resources and nobody's actually using them. I'd much rather have a variety of usable gear depending on the situation than just a bunch of non-usable gear that is only good for turning into appearance items. Make them as separate cosmetic items and people will still chase them. Maybe chase them even more. I mean, when dev resources are so limited, why squander them on churning out mediocre padding? Do less and make it more meaningful. Then there's time for other things that players in Neverwinter desperately needs. So for me, all this new gear being added to every module isn't a good thing. I find it extremely annoying, and it adds no excitement to my Neverwinter experience since I already know what is coming in every module in the future. It's like knowing the ending of a movie before watching it, and you can't be excited if you already know the ending or what the plot is all about. So yeah, that's where I stand with that. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and if you have any examples or ideas for yourself for what they should do with gear. Galactic here, peace out, stay safe.
From the battle ashes where fear and dread